I was convinced perfection was a myth. People used to cope with disappointment until I saw you trembling in honesty yesterday and realized flawlessness can breathe. I used to believe perfection meant control, poise, and polish. But watching you unravel without apology rewired everything I thought I knew. Yesterday, in your most unguarded moment, you did something terrifyingly rare. You were real, and somehow that was perfection. I thought perfection required strength, but the way your voice cracked yesterday taught me it actually lives inside vulnerability. Seeing you exposed, unsure, and still standing shattered my old definition of perfect in the most beautiful way. I always imagined perfection as something untouchable, but yesterday it reached out, shook, and looked exactly like you. In that moment when you thought no one was watching, you became everything I never believed could exist. I spent years chasing polished illusions. Then you showed me that perfection bleeds, doubts, and still chooses honesty. Yesterday wasn't about you being impressive, it was about you being human. And that's what destroyed every false standard I had. I used to fear vulnerability, but watching you face it so openly made it feel like the bravest form of beauty. When you let your guard fall yesterday, something sacred happened. Perfection stopped being distant and became intimate. I didn't fall for your strengths yesterday. I fell for the courage it took to show your cracks. That moment wasn't rehearsed or curated, yet it outshined every flawless image I've ever admired. I thought perfection meant never breaking, until I saw how beautifully you held yourself together after breaking. Yesterday proved that perfection doesn't hide pain, it transforms it into something unforgettable. Watching you navigate vulnerability without armor made me realize how empty my old ideals were. I used to think perfection was cold and flawless, but you made it warm, trembling, and alive. That single moment of honesty erased years of unrealistic expectations I didn't even know I carried. You didn't try to be perfect yesterday, and somehow that's what made you undeniable. I saw more truth in your uncertainty than I've seen in a lifetime of confidence. Yesterday, your silence spoke louder than any performance ever could. I always believed perfection was unreachable, but then you stood there, imperfect and breathtakingly whole. You showed me that perfection isn't about having it together. It's about letting others see when you don't. In your vulnerability, there was a quiet power that no polished persona could ever replicate. I didn't admire you for overcoming weakness. I admired you for refusing to hide it. Yesterday taught me that perfection doesn't demand masks, it dissolves them. I've seen confidence before, but I had never seen courage like the kind you displayed in that moment. You made a imperfection feel sacred, like something to be honored rather than corrected. I used to chase ideals, but now I understand that truth is far more magnetic. That moment changed how I see beauty, strength, and honesty forever. You didn't try to impress anyone yesterday, and that's exactly why no one could look away. Watching you be vulnerable felt like witnessing something rare and unrepeatable. I realized perfection was never about being unbreakable. It was about being brave enough to be seen broken. Yesterday, your humanity outshone every flawless standard I once worshipped. I thought perfection required certainty, but you showed me how powerful uncertainty can be. There was nothing dramatic about your vulnerability, yet it carried more weight than any grand gesture. I didn't expect to be changed by that moment, but here I am, redefined. You stood in your truth without protection, and it felt like witnessing pure courage. That moment made me question every false image I ever chased. I saw something in you yesterday that can't be manufactured or replicated. Your honesty didn't make you smaller, it made you unforgettable. I used to think perfection was rare. Now I know it's just rarely allowed to exist. Yesterday reminded me that authenticity is the most powerful presence in any room. You didn't need to say much. Your vulnerability did all the talking. I thought perfection meant having answers, but you showed me the beauty of simply feeling. Watching you face yourself without flinching changed the way I see strength. That moment felt like truth stripping away illusion, quietly and completely. You weren't trying to be anything yesterday, and that's what made you everything. I never believed vulnerability could be captivating until you proved it effortlessly. Yesterday, I stopped chasing perfection and started recognizing it. You showed me that the most powerful moments are the ones we don't plan. Your honesty felt like a mirror I wasn't ready for, but needed.